And Anthony, you were present the last class. Okay. Now, can you tell me what do you mean by compression stress?
Ma'am, last class I was not there.
Okay. Ashwin also was not there. Okay. Anna, can you tell me what do compression stress? Tensile stress is increase in length. So what happened to compression stress?
Decrease in length.
Yes, correct. So decrease in length. Okay. So this is the things we have studied in the last class. So now we are moving on to types of solids. Due to this mechanical properties, we have mainly 3 types of solids. Okay. So you can write the next heading, types of solids. Types of solids. Types of solids. Types of solids. The first type of solids, we call it as crystalline solids. Crystalline solids means, in simply we will say crystals, sugar crystal, salt crystal. So these are known as crystalline solids. So first type of solids are crystalline solids. And what is a peculiar feature of a crystal? Anyone have any idea? What is the peculiar feature of a crystal? Of a diamond crystal, a glass crystal, a sugar crystal. If you look at the sugar crystal, a sugar granule, that is what I mean by. What type of the shape it can be seen around us? Usually sugar, small parts of the sugar particles are in which shape?
Cube.
Yeah, it's in cube shape. Okay. Sometimes you will get a square pieces of the sugar. Sometimes you will get the rectangular shape. So it depends upon it. Okay. So that means the crystalline solids have arranged or stacked in a perfect systematic manner, because it has got a particular regular shape. Actually, it's not irregular shape, regular shape. Cube is a regular shape. The square is a regular shape. Rectangle is a regular shape. That means why they have that particular shape? Because they are arranged in a systematic manner. So that is those solids which have arranged, or we use the word stacked. Stacked means another word of arranged in a systematic manner is known as crystalline solids. Okay. So write down in this which are arranged, atoms and molecules. Clear? So write down. In these solids, atoms or molecules. In these solids, atoms or molecules are stacked. That is what we use the word in physics, stacked in perfectly systematic manner. For example, you can say a cube-shaped sugar crystal, or a cube-shaped salt crystal. So these are some examples of crystalline solids. Second one, I think chemistry also you must have learned. So this is a branch of a physics, crystallography. So where we learn the peculiar feature of a diamond, pearl, like that. These all are crystalline solids. Okay. So next one, amorphous solids. Second type of solids. Amorphous solids. So it is opposite of a crystalline solids. Okay. That means it doesn't have a perfect manner, or it is not stacked in an orderly manner. So that is what amorphous solids. So you can write in such solids atoms are stacked randomly 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 without an ordered position, without an ordered position, without an ordered position. So crystalline, majority solids are crystalline nature. So that is what diamond, salt, sugar, everything is in crystalline nature. Amorphous means it doesn't have a properly ordered position randomly. They just put here and there, something shapes. So this is what we use for glass putty. So example for amorphous solids, glass pieces. If you break a glass, you know that the pieces of that glass may not have perfect shape. Okay, so that is glass, putty, clay, glass, putty, clay. They are known as amorphous substances. Okay, so we can say amorphous solids, and we have solids are ductile solids and brittle solids. We have ductile solids and brittle solids. These are another peculiar property. We come there after this. Okay, so ductile means it can be deformed. It can be deformed without losing its nature. So that is the meaning of ductile. Brittle means once it break into pieces, it will loses its toughness, just like a chalk powder. You see the chalk. If you crush the chalk, what happened? The chalk powder will be just like a powder. It loses its own shape, size, and everything. So they are brittle. But glass and all, you know the glass pieces. When the tumbler breaks, so even the broken pieces are still have a glassy nature. Okay, putty, in whichever shape you use, it will not lose its nature, shape, or size. Okay, but they are ductile. So that's the meaning of ductile and brittle. Clear? Okay, so that means majority amorphous solids are ductile. Majority amorphous solids are ductile, not brittle. Okay, even crystalline solids, they are perfect solids, but there are some like gold, silver, all these are ductile crystalline solids. Okay, so ductility. So ductile, and its noun is ductility and brittleness. So these are the noun. Okay, ductility, brittleness. It's a nature on the basis of its arrangement. Okay. So you can just write majority are ductile nature. Amorphous solids ductile, not brittle. So those who cannot understand ductile, you can just write what do you mean by ductile. Able to be
Ma'am,
deformed. Yes?
ma'am, for crystalline solids, mostly ductile and brittle.
No, you can just write they are ductile. Some are ductile, not everything.
So for amorphous,
Amorphous, all are ductile.
okay.
All are ductile and some are brittle. All are ductile and some are brittle. Okay, so these are the types of solids, crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Okay, but there are some cases we have semi-crystalline solids also is there. So, but we are not going to much detail. Semi-crystalline means partially they have a crystalline nature and partially they have amorphous solids. So that's a rare cases. So rare cases only. So mainly we studied about two types, crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Majority are crystalline nature. Majority are crystalline in nature. Okay. So if you want, you can just write as a third one, semi-crystalline solids. Semi-crystalline solids. Semi-crystalline solids. So in nature, usually we see both amorphous and crystalline. Semi-crystalline is in rare cases. Okay. So semi-crystalline solid, what do you mean by it? You can write down. In this solid, there is a random mix-up. There is a random mix-up of ordered and unordered. Ordered and unordered arrangement of molecules. Unordered arrangement of molecules. Example, you can say medicinal granules. So you can say the Pankaja Kasturi granules and all. So they are made up of some of the other chemical materials and substances. So some are having a proper crystal shape and all, some are not it. So medicinal granules, then sometimes broken pieces of the glass itself. So they are amorphous. At the same time, they also will behave just like a semi-crystalline. Some of the glass, because glass are different type is there. Flint glass, rock salt glass, like that. Crown glass. So depend upon the nature, some of the glass pieces, they behave like a semi-crystalline. And some of the costly metals, like just like a diamond, if you go to under the sea, you will see so many precious stones and all. So some of them have look like a crystal, but they are not a properly crystal nature also. Like granites. All these are semi-crystalline. So some is ordered, some is unordered. So those type of solids we can either can be ductile, either can be brittle. So there is no peculiar feature. Depend upon the situation. If you exert an energy, applied forces, semi-crystalline solids will have both ductile nature and a brittle nature. So that is semi-crystalline solids. Okay, so that's the types of the solids on the basis of mechanical properties, compressibility, elasticity, plasticity, and all that is come. So now we are moving on to, these are the main properties we have already learned. We have already learned the properties of the solids. Now, last class, we have learned types of strain. That is longitudinal strain, shear strain, volumetric strain, that was over. Now, on the basis of connecting stress and strain, you are getting a relation. So that is known as Hooke's law. Okay, so
ma'am, can you show the like
previous one?
volumetric change? Yeah.
This one?
Yes.
Okay. This is what we discussed yesterday. Volumetric strain, delta V by V, shear strain, delta theta by theta, longitudinal, delta L by L. These are the equation. Okay. So now we are going to connect the two properties, stress and strain, and you are coming to a law that is known as Hooke's law. So the scientist is Robert Hooke, and his law, what he have discovered or invented, is known as Hooke's law. So Hooke's law is the law which relate both stress and strain. Clear? So, what do you mean by Hooke's law? For Hooke's law, according to Hooke's law, the applied force is directly proportional to, applied force is directly proportional to extension or compression of a particular material. Extension or compression. Okay, extension and compression both comes under stress. Okay, so you can write down Hooke's law states that. So after that you can write this. First you write the heading Hooke's law and write the statement what I give. Hooke's law states that the applied force or deforming force, applied force or deforming force, applied force or deforming force is directly proportional to extension or compression of a material such as spring. So Hooke's law says that applied force or deforming force is directly proportional to extension or compression of a material such as spring. Thus, according to Hooke's law, you can write this one. According to Hooke's law, for small deformation, not for major deformation, for small deformation, the stress and strain are proportional to each other. Stress and strain are proportional to each other. And the equation for Hooke's law, we can represent stress divided by strain equal to a constant. Okay. And what is K? K is the proportionality constant and is known as modulus of elasticity. It's a proportionality constant and is known as modulus of elasticity, or in work energy chapter we have learned one word, spring constant. So sometimes in the case of a spring, we call this constant ratio also known as spring constant or force constant. So there are, depending upon the situation, we use these words. So K is known as modulus of elasticity or spring constant or force constant. Okay, now what is a peculiar feature of Hooke's law means it is valid for majority of the solid materials. Okay, but there are some materials, they don't exhibit this property. So for everything there's a limitation. Okay, so Hooke's law is valid for all type of solid materials. Those who have that, I already told you, some materials, they have elasticity, sometimes it will have plasticity. So because of that, it is valid for all the solid materials, but still there is a but. That means it may not exhibit properly for some of the materials. It may obey at a particular point once it achieved elastic limit. Because last class we learned what do you mean by elastic limit. Anyone remember what do you mean by elastic limit? Anyone Who did not give me answer so far? Those are present yesterday. Michael, you did not give me an answer. Can you just see elastic limit means what? Elastic limit. From that itself, you will understand what it is. Elastic limit. Elastic plus limit. Okay. Okay. Emmanuel, can you repeat once again what Michael said? In your own way, what do you mean by elastic limit?
I didn't hear from Michael anything.
Okay, okay. You did not listen, then you can say in your own words. What do you mean by elastic limit?
The limit to expand.
Limit to expand or stretch. Okay, so limit of a material. The limit of a material to be deformed permanently forever. So that is elastic limit in one sentences. So it is the maximum limit or upper limit at which a body is deformed, and beyond which if you apply the forces, it cannot be regained its own shape. So I hope you remember. So that is elastic limit. So the Hooke's law is valid for certain materials, but in some cases it cannot be satisfied. Why? It must have been achieved up to elastic limit. Once we achieved elastic limit, how much force you apply, it will be deformed to that material forever. So that is what there is a limit for Hooke's law also. Clear? So that is Hooke's law. And on the basis, it is in your textbook. This is known as stress strain curve. So this is 5-mark question. State Hooke's law, draw the stress strain curve and explain the different parts. Okay. So that is next, stress strain curve. This is we are learning in terms of for a metal. So this is in your textbook. Understand the parts. We told you Hooke's law is possible at a particular point. So if you look at this picture, from origin up to A, that is OA. OA line is a constant. That is stress and strain. Strain on x-axis, stress on y-axis. Clear? So that means up to A, it is a straight line. So this straight line indicates that it obeys Hooke's law. The straight line OA indicates that it obeys Hooke's law. So when I ask you question, state Hooke's law and then explain, draw the stress strain curve and explain the parts means you have to draw it, indicate OA, AB, C, all that. And you have to tell me all these parts. Okay, that means 1 up to O up to A, it obeys Hooke's law. Why? Because it is a straight line. So any directly proportional term come, the graph always will be a straight line. So the straight line OA indicates it obeys Hooke's law. Now what happened after A? After A, slowly, it is started deforming. It started stretching. And it reaches to a limit. So once up to OA, it is obeying Hooke's law. And from A onwards, elastic limit start. So again, it further stretch up to B. And then BC. BC goes. So this point B indicate yield point, maximum. Okay. Then again, it stretched further up to BC. It can be stretched. And afterwards, this graph, curved graph indicates that the material is permanently deforming forever. So up to D, stretching is taking place. And after D, what happened? Rubber band breaks or rubber band or spring. So OA, it obeys Hooke's law. After AB, further stretching is taking place and it reaches up to a point known as yield point. Then BC, little more. Beyond the yield point, it stretch and up to D. it is started deforming permanently. And D is the, we can call it as proportional limit. D is the proportional limit. And from D onwards, the rubber band or string, whatever it is, it started breaking. So E represent the fracture point. Okay, so up to OA, Hooke's law. Then A, B, C, there is no satisfaction or verification of Hooke's law. B is known as yield point. Further stretching taking place. Then up to D, it is deforming forever. And then DE indicate the fracture point. So material going to be brittle that time. Up to D, they are ductile. It can be deformed. But after reaching to elastic limit, it started breaking. Then it shows the brittle nature or brittleness. Okay. So it is in your textbook. You can read that. And if you draw a line parallel to OA, up to this point, so just we can indicate it is as M or M. You can see that the material is having a permanent set. So it's a different parts. So this is stress strain curve. Okay. So remaining thing we will discuss in the next class. So this is for 5-mark question. State Hooke's law, draw stress strain curve, and explain the parts. Okay, so that's it. So we will continue in the next class. Thank you.